There are a number of threats facing our planet, and we need to tackle these. When we were founded in 1834, we set out to help and support our world by actively promoting a positive change in society. We're making a difference to our one planet through our leading research, new technologies, and partnerships. We want to create a more sustainable future for everyone and protect our planet. Find out from our colleagues, partners, and stakeholders about how we're making a difference in one planet.
There's great strength when you actually bring different perspectives to actually explore solutions.
Our mission hasn't changed. We're making a difference to our planet.
How can we make energy locally? How can we move towards a decentralised system?
I'm Richard Dawson. I'm Director of Research and Innovation in the School of Engineering at Newcastle University. There are numerous challenges facing our one planet. We're over-consuming water resources. We're polluting our oceans, our rivers. We're also changing our landscapes beyond recognition, deforesting ancient forests and replacing them with monocrops and agricultural practices that are damaging and polluting.
I think one of the key things we've got to do for One Planet is understand what are those planetary limits. So a lot of the work that we're doing in biodiversity is understanding what are the rates of extinction, what is conservation action achieving in terms of avoiding those extinctions. And a piece of work that we did at the end of last year was featured very significantly in Global Biodiversity Outlook 5, which was the Convention on Biological Diversity's report on its 10-year strategic plan. And it was one of the few positive stories to come out of that 10-year review.
So the challenge of One Planet is quite complicated in some respects, but also quite simple from an energy point of view. We use energy for everything. We use energy in our homes, at work, to move around, in the things that we consume. What I'm interested in terms of that challenge is for that energy that we use, how do we wean ourselves off fossil fuels? And the challenge there is to decarbonise our systems, to move away from fossil fuels that have carbon in them and emit carbon dioxide when we use them, and move to cleaner sources of fuel like renewable energy technologies. So the challenge here is decarbonisation. Another challenge for energy systems is around decentralisation. So how can we make energy locally? How can we move towards a decentralised system, a way of generating and using energy?
My research looks at the changes to extreme rainfall that might result from our warming climate and the impacts on water resources and flooding. I've also been working closely with Network Rail and the Met Office to provide advice and guidance from a task force, the Weather Advisory Task Force that I've been part of, in light of the Stonehaven tragedy, in terms of how Network Rail should change the operation of the railway system to provide greater safety to customers. The other thing that we've been doing quite closely with Northumbria University is to provide the One Planet doctoral training programme. And this programme takes this idea of a systems integrated approach to science and to research, and really thinking about how do we work together with partners to provide solutions to these global problems associated with One Planet.
One of the key elements I think that we do have to really understand with One Planet is what are the limits to human change of our environment. So for example, we increasingly hear about extinctions and all the doomsaying, a lot of negative stories often about the status of the world species. Working with around 50 partners around the world, working specifically with the International Union for the Conservation of Nature to assess what the impact of conservation action was directly on avoiding species extinctions. And that piece of work identified that the rate of extinction would have been 2 to 4 times higher since 1993 than it actually had been without conservation action. So conservation action can make a difference, but we just need to scale up conservation efforts, and we really can make a difference in avoiding extinctions.
At the Centre for Energy, our key international collaborators are working with us on this global challenge of decarbonisation. We're working with the University of Pittsburgh and chatting to them about the approaches that they're taking from a learning and teaching point of view, and thinking about how we might learn from their approaches in embedding energy and the Sustainable Development Goals in our curriculum in a way that they've done with their undergraduate programme.
And it's a really interesting partnership actually, because we're able to look at solutions that they found over in the US and solutions that we found in Newcastle, actually working with City Council on the Net Zero task force that I co-chair, and actually bring these together. And I think there's great strength when you actually bring different perspectives from different disciplines, but also different places together in this space to actually explore solutions to the problems of climate change.
Of course, it's absolutely crucial that we don't just leave our research on the shelf. We have to implement this in practice. This starts at home. We work with our own estates team to ensure that our building stock on campus and our policies and practices are better fit for purpose to tackle this challenge. But we're also a globally focused institution. We're working with partners around the world, from the United States to South Africa, Ethiopia, Malaysia, India. We are tackling these challenges together in partnership with local experts to deliver solutions on the ground.